Well, welcome back. It's Friday. Welcome to Let's Talk and Washington Informer News. I'm so glad that you all are with us today on this cloudy, somewhat rainy looking Friday. But hey, it's December 1st. It's a great day. And can you believe it? We're almost at the end of the year. I'm Denise Rollard Barnes, your host, and I am just, again, so happy that you are with us today. And I hope you've had a chance to pick up a copy of the Washington Informer this week at a newsstand in the area, someplace close to where you are, I hope. I always like to show the print edition. We've got it out again this week. This is no easy feat to publish this paper every single week, and we're so blessed that we continue to do that. You know that if you have not been able to pick up a copy, you can read the digital edition online at washingtoninformer.com. And this week's issue includes The Bridge, our monthly millennial facing publication. The Bridge has some really great stories. I like that picture better. There is a skate club, one of the first skate clubs at an HBCU. It's at Howard University. And there's a story in here that profiles the students that are members of the skate club. It's a great piece. So if you haven't had a chance to pick up the paper, I hope you will do so. Some great stories in there, some wonderful things. I don't know, you all may have heard this week about the job fair, jobs, not guns, well attended. And so I hope you'll get a chance to read about that, as well as some of the new members who are going to um, jump in the Ward 7 DC City Council race. That's coming up. We're in election season now. We're about to kick off. So the potential candidates are jumping out now and letting folks know that they are ready to get into the race. And then also, we were so sad to hear the news this week about Baba Odunu A. Tariq. He is kind of somebody we've known throughout the city. I don't know if you can see that photograph of him, but he is almost like our Roy Lewis. He is everywhere and a real spiritual brother. And he passed away, I believe, it was last Saturday. Services have already been held for him, and so we did a piece on him as well. Thank you, Sam P.K. Collins. So if you're a part of our network, we want you to share the information from your friends and colleagues so they can have access to our program. Please share this broadcast on your social media platforms and follow us on Facebook, IG, X, formerly known as Twitter, Threads, Nextdoor, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Don't want to forget that. So we are on all of the platforms, and stories are posted regularly, and you can share them with everyone. And that's so important to us as well. We need your support. Now, Giving Tuesday has come and gone. And while I should be asking for your donations and support of Washington Informer charities, which I am asking actually. So if you are interested in supporting either we've got the upcoming Martin Luther King Holiday Parade, we've got the DC Citywide Spelling Bee, as well as the Prince George's Spelling Bee. We have internship programs for students, college students who are interested in pursuing careers in journalism. Any donation you give helps to support those programs. So we hope that you will consider that and help us out. But what I was about to say is the donations are great, but what's even greater for us in the long term is if you will go to our website, sign up, and become a digital subscriber to the Washington Informer. It's very easy. You just put in your email address and that's it. So think about it. We certainly would love to have you as a part of the Washington Informer family and on all of our social channels. Please follow us and share the information that you see with your friends and colleagues, because as you know, advertising is what runs this engine. And people are always looking at the numbers. The advertisers are always looking at the numbers. And so we want to we can't compete with some, but we can show growth. And that's what's so important to us. Today is World AIDS Day, December 1st. And I would strongly say that if you want to support an organization with a history of searching for a cure for HIV, go out tomorrow morning, actually, and join the Whitman Walker annual 37th annual Walk to End HIV at Anacostia Park. You can register at 8:30 a.m. And if you want to know more information about that, visit walktoendhiv.org. That's the website, walktoendhiv.org. I know they would love to see you there. Last year, I think they walked at um, what was it, St. Elizabeth's. They were walking downtown for many years, but Whitman Walker has now built a beautiful, beautiful facility, Max Robin facility over here in Southeast at St. Elizabeth's. And so now they are really a part of the community and they need your support as well. We've got a great lineup of guests today. They include Larry Laws, founder and president of First Home Alliance Incorporated, an organization that seeks to keep veterans in their homes. We have music executive, promoter, and entrepreneur, Bo Sampson, who will share with us a great place to go for the holidays. You may know it, and I hope you do, the VIP Lounge. And then we're going to have Raynette Sanders, owner of the Love Lady Boutique, who has some great ideas for those who are committed to buying Black during the holidays. And last but not least, we're going to close out the program with the Washington Informer's stellar star reporter, Sam Collins, who's going to bring us up to date on the DC crime bills. There were some hearings this week, and folks are really weighing in on the new chief, the mayor's crime proposal, and the community is engaged in speaking out, and Sam has been right there covering that. So we're going to end the program with a conversation to bring you up to date in case you've been missing it. So before we bring on our first guest, let's watch our weekly news broadcast by our reporter, Curtis Knowles.
This is Win TV News, bringing you the news that matters. A digital milestone for the DC Public Library was reached when the library system checked out its 2 millionth digital item of the year earlier this month, doubling it from last year's total of 1 million downloads. Tiffany Unique's Land of Love and Drowning was the 2 millionth digital checkout according to the library system. With a DC Public Library card, you can borrow up to 10 titles at once online and choose whether you want to access them up to 7, 14, or 21 days. Richard Reyes-Galvin, executive director of the DC Public Library, commented saying, quote, "It's a staggering number considering the rate at which electronic material is being adapted." Amtrak will argue in federal court Tuesday that eminent domain privileges dictate it should be granted full control of the historic Union Station in D.C. In a lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court, Amtrak is seeking control of the property managed by a private company, Union Station Invesco, or USI. The U.S. has owned the property since 1985 and authorized a nonprofit to oversee the property. Currently, the USI subleases a small portion of the station, approximately 13%, to Amtrak for its railroad operations, including ticket counters and concourse. Amtrak filed the eminent domain case in April of 2022, seeking control of the Union Station Invesco stake, citing the federal code that Amtrak has the authority to seize property, quote, necessary for intercity rail passenger transportation. A 3-judge panel in the Fourth Court of Appeals struck down Maryland's handgun laws on November 21st, citing the potential 30-day waiting period as onerous and violating the constitutional rights of applicants. The state has until December 5th to seek another hearing with the Fourth Circuit Court and until February 19th to seek a review with the U.S. Supreme Court. Maryland Governor Wes Moore said, quote, "This law is not about stripping away rights from responsible gun owners. It's about every Marylander having the right to live free from fear. Common sense gun laws are critical to protecting all Marylanders from the gun violence that has terrorized our communities, and I'm determined to do more than just give thoughts and prayers and attend funerals. And that's why this law is vital to our administration's commitment to keeping guns out of the wrong hands and saving lives."
Thank you so very much, Curtis. And now we're going to go on with the show. I am so excited to bring on our first guest, Larry Laws, founder and president of First Home Alliance Incorporated, and who's given us the whole, patriotic look in the background, and I think that's fantastic. Larry, welcome to Let's Talk.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. So let's talk about First Home Alliance. Tell us what the program is that you have there, and what the focus is on veterans.
Yes, well, Denise, I want to again thank you for having me on today. And First Home Alliance, we've been around since 2002, and it's not just me. I have wonderful staff, volunteers, and board members. Some are watching us today here that help support the organization and also out there with boots on the ground and actually performing the mission. Well, since inception, First Home Alliance have made a tremendous impact in the community. We have served over 18,000 households as veterans and low and moderate income families. I served 24 years in the military, United States Army, where I saw firsthand the need for financial literacy and housing stability. And with couple being inspired by my mom becoming a first-time homebuyer at age 65, I started the organization before retirement so that I could perform that mission, helping individuals becoming stabilizing financially and housing. And so thank you for having us here to share our story.
I'm really glad that you are here to talk about this because I know that, and this is a little bit off topic here, but Congressman Clyburn, about a year ago, introduced some legislation to really try to get the veterans, what was it, for their home, help me out here. But Black veterans didn't have the same opportunities or access to what veterans get to buying homes. And it's, again, hurting that, what do you call it, being able to build institutional legacy wealth. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, correct. And so the military, the Veteran Administration have set up after World War II, it's set up the VA Home Loan Guarantee Program, which a lot of our veterans are not aware of the program, but it's a benefit for them to actually help them get into housing. We fought overseas. We served along with our brothers alongside of them. And even organizations like the American Legion, which I've served as the commander of the post 114, where after World War I and World War II, after the Jim Crow era, the Black veterans were not able to join organizations such as American Legion. And so the American Legion Post 114 with 16 charter members actually chartered a post in 1945 to become the colored post of Manassas. And later in 1946 became the American Legion Post 114, where our veterans could join that camaraderie ship and share those benefits and help them along with the benefits that are set aside for our veterans, to include housing. There's a number of organizations, my organization, also USA Home Ownership, which is the Veteran Association of Real Estate Professionals, that bring those opportunities. We actually educate our industry on the housing opportunities for our veterans, and we make it available for them with education and actually walking them through the home buying process to become homeowners and use those benefits that they so deserve and also have earned.
We thank you for being here on Let's Talk. But what is the outreach like? I mean, how easy or difficult has it been to really reach veterans who could take advantage of this? I know you said that a lot of veterans don't know about the program. And I wonder, if you could quantify what those numbers look like, those who may be, eligible, but are not. And what other ways are you trying to reach out to them?
Yes. And so surveys have shown that for eligible veterans that are eligible for the VA loan, less than 30% of them have actually using that loan product. There's many of reasons why they're not into the VA Home Loan Guarantee Program. Some dealing with the industry in reference to our realtors and our brokers and lenders out there. Maybe one, they may not be totally educated on the process. And so there's a lot of myths out there in reference to the VA program is too difficult. It takes too long. The appraisal process is too long. And so a lot of myths out there. So that's the thing that I'm involved in. And a number of organizations and partners here are educating the industry to let them know that the VA loan program is the best loan for our military veterans. There's so many benefits in there for our veterans in reference to paying off debt with the VA loan. The VA Home Loan Guarantee Program basically do not have a credit score. There's no credit score requirement. So the education is power. Of course, the lenders may have an overlay that have some type of credit score with that, but the home loan program, the credit score is not taken into consideration in reference to whether you qualify or eligible for the VA home loan program.
And who's eligible? Is it the veteran themselves, or could it be a spouse, a family member, or is it just for the veteran?
Well, then, of course, it is for the veteran. So it is a benefit for the veteran. There are some cases where home loans or titles and things of that sort can be transferred over. Their surviving spouse rights and things of that sort. But it is for veterans. Before retiring and even at retiring, I really didn't know the definition of veteran. And so we look today in uniform, we may have right up on the 2 million individual service members that are actually in uniform, not knowing that there's over 22 million veterans in our society, still less than 1% of our population that have served. And so if they have served a number of time and qualify as a veteran, normally it's about 180 days or so. And in some other circumstances, it could be less. They actually qualify as a veteran. So there's actually veterans today that may not know that they are eligible or that even they consider themselves a vet. And so educating individuals and outreach, to individuals that have served. So the question is, have you served? And then we can actually qualify and find out your eligibility as your veteran benefits, and also if you qualify for a home loan program as well.
So I don't think you would be even doing this or on this show if you hadn't experienced some success in putting some veterans in homes. Share with me, Larry. I mean, maybe a story that really stands out to you of a success of a veteran, a family that you've been able to help.
Yes. Well, one of the stories I really like to highlight for being here in this area, young gentleman, and I say young, he had 2 kids, and he was less than 30 years old, and he had been left by his wife. And he was living in an apartment in Arlington. And we understand this was a number of years ago. So Arlington affordable rent at the time would be about $1,800 a month. And so that was the affordability. But once he lost a portion of his income, which is half his income when he had received his separation and divorce from his spouse, then it became more difficult for him to maintain that affordability and maintain that housing. So he originally came to First Home Alliance actually to stop an eviction. Can you stop the eviction? Maybe I need to look at some transitional or emergency housing and things like this because I have to leave the housing. I can no longer afford it. And so working with a housing counselor and with First Home Alliance, we was able to negotiate and work with him and his landlord to stabilize him in his home with his 2 kids in that single bedroom. We continued to work with this individual for a number of years, even after stabilizing his rent. 4 years later, he became a first-time home buyer. Wow. So that is an amazing story that we would like to share with individuals, sticking in there and coming up with us, maybe for a crisis, but we're here for the long run to help you stabilize yourself financially, housing, working on that next generational wealth and building something for the future, and also thriving in the community.
No, that's an amazing story. I figured you have one in your up your sleeve someplace, and that's what we always like to know. I mean, how does the program work? And then for those who may have gotten into homes but may be facing foreclosure, I mean, is there support for them as well?
That is correct. Now, there's different programs, of course, every time when there's a crisis, such as our mortgage crisis in 2008, and actually we have helped over 3,500 homeowners sustain homeownership. We're talking about homeowners sustain homeownership, prevent foreclosure because of whether it's the mortgage crisis, whether it's an income crisis, and now we have the pandemic. Follow up with that. And I can recall one of our veterans that came with us that have already retired out of the military, but because of his job, he was traveling overseas. He was a dog trainer in the military and is a dog trainer with at airports and things of that sort. So because of the contract that he was in, he could not increase his income to keep up with the crisis that he was in. We was able to work with that veteran. We work with the mortgage servicer and negotiate with them to find out all the eligibilities with them in modifying their loan. And if those are qualified for modification, in this case, we was able to get his loan modified with his mortgage loan servicer and to get him affordable mortgage payment for him to sustain his home ownership.
Well, I mean, this is fantastic. I think that at a time like this, one where there's a mission to get more folks into homes, we all know the importance of home ownership, and Black folks have always felt as though, owning a home or owning land was really important, and we've got to get back to that. How can people reach out to you all to get more information, education, services?
Yes, and so we offer a number of services, from credit, budget, home ownership, rental assistance, homeowner assistance, reverse mortgage counseling. And so a wealth of education. We also conduct the certified HUD education and counseling course that's required for a lot of down payment assistance, and also we do financial literacy that we educate our audience. You can easily get information about First Home Alliance on our website, and our website is firsthomealliance.org. But also, for us to continue to serve our veterans and our low and moderate income community, we need your donations. These services that we provide to our community is free of charge. And so for us to continue to do this, we need donations. And so to make a tax deductible donation today, you can visit firsthomealliance.org/donate. That's FIRSTHOMEALLIANCE/donate.
Well, for the service that you provide, it sounds like, it would be a great thing for people to support what you're doing, and veterans need it. And, it helps the entire family and the community as well. Did I hear that there's a book also that you produced? Okay, let's talk about that for a second.
Yes, Denise, and I have a wonderful team of media and actually helping us outreach and actually getting the First Home Alliance and what we're doing and leading the charge in the community, and to having a story. I didn't think that I had much of a story, but I guess there is maybe a story, a legacy. But I have overcome quite a bit. Not only just becoming a homeowner and helping others become homeowners, but during my military service, I had triumph over a challenge that I had basically by being a Black man, because I fit the description of our, and I was falsely accused in an incident. So this book here covers not only my stories, but a number of stories of authors that show their triumph in their triumph over a tragedy or a situation to overcome and thrive in the community. So that book is The Heart of a Black Man. You can find it on Amazon, but you can also find it on our website. Again, that's at firsthomealliance.org.
Well, not trying to be funny or anything, but I love the title. So many people either are searching for the heart of the Black man, right? Or they want to know, particularly during these days when people are still stigmatizing Black men as whatever the negative things that we hear about all the time. But to know, that you have a book that talks about the heart. Our men have hearts. So
Yes. And so in that case, I was falsely accused because I met the description. So a lot of times we're looking at the outer appearance, and you're getting
right.
judged because of what the outer appearance would see. But the definition of a Black man is a whole lot different from what you see. But Black men are just as intelligent. Black men have inspiration, they have motivation, and they have desire, and they can aspire. Given opportunities, and you see, as in housing, financial literacy, and things like that, opportunity was not granted. So, given the opportunity, we can thrive and achieve all the things that any human can achieve as well.
Well, I want to thank you so very much for being with us and for sharing this great program, and the opportunity also to read your book and to donate, to support what you're doing to support veterans all over especially over the DMV. So I want to thank you for being with us. Is there anything you want to add before we close out?
No, Denise, again, I just want to say thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. And just to remind our audience out there to continue to help us with our mission, to visit our website. That's at firsthomealliance.org. And
All
thank
right.
you for having me.
Thank you so much. And have happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too.
All righty. So, that's going to be one of our missions in 2024, to work with Our House section of the Washington Informer. We're going to continue to print stories and bring people on to Win TV to answer all of your questions about home ownership. There's this move now that I understand to really get people to think more about renting than owning. But we will investigate that. But I think that for us, for our community, owning is critical and important. So we may end up having Larry Laws back on again to talk to us some more in the new year about this program for veterans. And if you have any questions that you might want to ask him and you don't know how to reach out, send those to us at news, N-E-W-S, at WashingtonInformer.com. Again, that's news, N-E-W-S, at WashingtonInformer.com. We'll make sure we get those to him and get those questions answered for you, because we want to help you to become a homeowner. And speaking of becoming homeowners, we also like entrepreneurs, people who own businesses. And in this case, we're talking about Bo Sampson, Bodacious one, who is sort of well-known in the entertainment community, well-known socialite, and a well-known business owner with a place of fun in the DMV. Bo, welcome to Win TV.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
I'm doing good. I can hear you really well.
If I got any better, I couldn't stand it. That's my father.
Well, you know, I have to say this publicly, because as you know, I saw you not too long ago at the ribbon cutting and groundbreaking of the Go-Go Museum. Yes. And I had the opportunity to interview Spike Lee and Sugar Bear there. And out of the side of the room, you came up with, well, you should have asked about this and you should have asked about that. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you should have done this interview. So
you did a great job. You did a great job.
Thank you. But I'm so glad that you're with us, because you have, you know, a lot of history and a lot of roots in DC. So let's talk about, Bo. Okay. Tell folks who don't know who you are, how would you describe yourself?
God-fearing first, family orientated, because that's very important. I got anything I got it from my mother and father, Earlene Sampson, Sam Sampson. Sam Sampson's not here anymore, but he's the one that put the seed in me. With my mother, I got my brothers, Mike and Gary and Yolanda. And, I'm family orientated. I mean, hey, I got my priorities based on anything that happens to me. God has elevated me. And so I got a lot to talk about. We got the VIP room, was created by my father, Sam Sampson. And, we just trying to keep the dream alive, keep the family together and be an example for people that you can do it if you trust in God first and pass the ball. Like I was a point guard at Bowie State and Carroll, and I was a point guard. Point guard pass the ball first before he shoot, but we don't know if it's going to come back.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. So, I mean, and then what was your entree into the music industry? How did you get into that industry, and who are some of the folks that you used to work with?
I got in the music business through Bowie State College. Mm-hmm. Bumped in somebody that was in the business, and they introduced me to the business. Everybody wants to find a way to make money off their passion. My passion was sports in the beginning, but God shifted that thing to music, and I stumbled into music. So I worked at MCA Records for 7 years. I worked with it's been an honor to work with.
What'd you do there when you were at MCA?
My job was to create the demand for the artists that were signed to the label. And we had people like New Edition, Mary J. Blige, Jodeci, Patti LaBelle, Gladys. I done promoted from the electric slide to rump shaker, Denise. I mean, I promoted every style of record. Of course, I'm from DC, so I did the documentary with Miss Kathy Hughes. The Beat Don't Stop. We got nominated NAACP. So I was able to, take that journey. You really don't know what you're going to do. But the key factor is to try to put time. You got to put time in anything you want to do. You don't know the end result. It's always going to be some, bumps in the road. But I get it from my family. The VIP was started in 1979 by my father. He used to throw his own surprise birthday parties, Denise. It was crazy. His
own surprise birthday party.
His own surprise birthday party. My father loved life. And it's funny because I tried to do the same thing my 50th, and man, I was before the Black Panther. I ain't getting no nominees because I did the exact same thing. It's real funny, but to enjoy life is very important, but to help people is very important too.
So the VIP lounge is located, the VIP room is located where?
3rd and Rittenhouse. And it's the name of the VIP room came from my father. Very important people. If you come in the VIP room and you ain't a VIP, you turn into a VIP. Now, when you leave, I can't tell you what they're going to do. So we specialize in birthday parties, anniversaries. And if you lead this life, we're going to celebrate your life. That's what it's all about. And my father and my mom, my father met my mother by selling vacuum cleaners. Now, if my mom, Raynette Sanders, didn't buy that vacuum cleaner, I wouldn't even be here today. So he sold himself and the vacuum cleaner.
I tell you that I know about those salesmen. That's a great thing. Now, how did you all survive? A lot of businesses, particularly where restaurants, clubs, what have you. I mean, they were really impacted badly by the pandemic. Sounds like you all had an experience. Talk about that.
I mean, we had to trust God first, but we were booked up for over 2 years, and we had to give every person their money back.
Wow.
During that time, but we trusted it came back to us because the people make us, the community make us. We would not be here if the community did not support us. It's a partnership. Even in the music business, I tell these guys, you can't get there by yourself. Then Kentucky Fried Chicken partnered with Taco Bell. Then XM partnered with Sirius XM. Then the Washington Informer partnered with the people. Matter of fact, they should call your magazine the Washington Informer International, because y'all not just DC, y'all around the world. I mean, this guy that I just listened to helped me, and I'm sure he helped other people, Mr. Laws. And you get information is the key. That's why I'm able to do what I do, because I'm a research buff and I try to help people, and it comes back to me. You plant a seed, then you water it. It don't grow right away.
So, Bo, one of the things that, a lot of young artists in the DC area, DMV, are really kind of frustrated about is that, while we were promoting go-go, and go-go's our music, and we all grew up with that. But, it's interesting. I asked a bunch of young people the other day, I said, if you were to name an artist, a DC artist that would draw a crowd, right? We say such and such is going to be there. They said nobody. There's nobody. So what's happening with DC music? Well, help me out with that. What's happening? And I want to know. Yeah,
it's not just go-go. It's a lot of successful singers, dancers, behind-the-scene people that are from DC, and they might have had to move to another location. LA, Atlanta, New York. They're not better than us. The problem is we don't group together. My next mission after 60 years old, which I had the VIP room, I call myself 50 again, like hip hop, because I don't want everybody to know I'm 6. I'm 50 again, baby. That's why I'm
with you. I'm with you.
We have to partner with people. There's not one artist that has been successful, including Beyonce, your Jay-Z's, or whoever you like, has not partnered with somebody. So they got to understand that talent alone cannot get them to the next level. My mission is to take a bus. Now, you got to be on time. When the bus says leaving, you better be there and try to take it around the country and the world with different artists and different entertainers and partner and show people we can do it just as good as anybody in the country on entertainment. But nobody wants to partner with everybody, even with the go-go people. I'm on them. I love them to death. But, man, you ain't getting there by yourself. You can tweet it. You can exit, whatever you want to do. That's my opinion. And I've been in the business 35 years. I got a book coming out. What does Bo do? Nobody knows what I'm doing. So I put a book. I got all these comedians roasting me, saying, man, Bo ain't got no job. So what I did is, technically, when I did my birthday party, man, I had people like Belladonna, who's one of the greatest groups, DJ Cool, EU from Sugar Bear, Huggy Lowdown, and Chris Paul. All the radio stations came and supported me. We worked together as a family. It was more fun seeing people together. You know,
yeah, especially when we've been apart for 3 years. But go ahead. Yeah,
that's my goal, to partner with people, only serious people. We don't want no con artists. You know what I'm saying? My father used to call them slicky wickies. Oh, he's a slicky wicky. Now you got 2 teams in DC: player hater. Which team you want to be on? So you got to work together. You can't get there by yourself. Nobody has gotten there. There's artists I've worked with, Jodeci, Mary J. Blige. They were signed for 3 to 4 years before they put a record out. These guys thinking it's going to happen right away. It's not.
Right.
You know, you got to put your time in. You either doing it for a hobby or a profession.
I want to go back to the book.
Yes.
That you produced. Tell me tell me the story behind the book, and when can we get it?
Oh, the first of the year. The book is basically about the insight of my journey in the business. It's not a tell-all book unless you telling all about me. I ain't pushing somebody down to get on. You know what I'm saying? I got quotes from different people you know and somebody you don't know, because it's talent. We don't get there by ourselves. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to show in the book, you're helping me out right now, basically, because you partner in not only for the VIP, but for other stuff. You're partnered with, like you just partnered with Mr. Laws. You got Raynette from Lovely Lady that's coming on. You have to partner with somebody. It's a team effort to make something successful. In my book, it's coming out the first of the year, but what I wanted to do is something real special. I want to team a bunch of people, experts from all over the country that you don't know, that live right here or from here, and let's show them on our expertise of what we do. I'm considered, I guess, a hype man or whatever you want to call me. And there are other people that do behind the scenes. They're cameramen, there's DJs, they're club jocks, they're promotion people. You got Ramon Baines, who I like to thank, who's probably the greatest publicity business person around the world. Worked with Michael Jackson, everybody. And people don't know who he is. You got a guy like Daryl Stoney, who took pictures for my, for the paper that you have in the paper today. I got Miss I got other people, social media people. There are other people that do stuff. People just got to figure out who's who. Now, I'm the old dude in the game, so I can say what I want now. Then I'm 50 again. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, before we close out, because a couple of things. One, you followed in Sam Sampson, right?
Yeah, Sam Sampson. We call him Big S.
So, who follows Bo Sampson?
Well, I'm hoping a couple people. You know, I don't like to really. I just my thing is I'm helping somebody along my journey, and I this book. What does Bo do? Is designed to help people. It got glossary. It got what I did to get there.
Right.
I kept clean. I never had a drug. I wait every Father's Day on the porch. Ain't no balloons showed up. Ain't got no kids. So I did it a different way. You don't have to sell out to get on. You know, I work with different art. I mean, I was in Wale's video, White Shoes, but it was all based on being seen. Sometimes just seeing somebody out. My information comes from research, what people tell me, and then I use that research to figure out what to do, because the business model has changed in America. You know, music is not bought no more. Streaming is like a timeshare, Denise. You have access to the place, but you don't own it. So people are not making money off sales of music. They're not making or the publishing, mostly somebody done sample somebody, so you got to pay them. So if you're not popular enough, you cannot get shows. I know somebody's going to hire you to make them some money. So if you're not popular enough to draw a crowd, then you can't make no money off of it. So it create demand supply, the old formula.
Well, that book sounds like a textbook as well, because the study of your life is a textbook of the industry, and it sounds like you're, dropping some really, really great gems for people, particularly again these younger artists that are trying to figure out, what this new entertainment paradigm is. But at the VIP room, We're
Yes.
coming up on the holidays.
Yes,
right?
please call
What's
us.
happening?
Please, pretty. You can go to Lovely Lady and buy your outfit. Then you go across the street and get some food from Peaches. Then you got the barbershop on the block on Rittenhouse to cut their hair. You know, so we got the whole thing in the 3rd and Rittenhouse block. You can come to the VIP room. If you want to be very important, we're going to make you feel very important. You know, so, but if you leave there, I can't guarantee what people are going to do after you leave the premises. It's a 24-hour set. We give you 4 hours to do what you do. We include DJs. We got the best balloon lady, cheats. We got photographers. Man, we got the whole ball of wax. You ring and we bring.
So how do folks reach you? You got an email address,
you can go
a
on
phone
the
number?
website, or you can go to you can call 202-545-1755. You can either call myself, my brother Mike, or Gary, or Yolanda. They'll reach out.
Let's get the website.
The VIP room, DC.com.
The VIP room, DC.com.
DC.com.
Okay. All right. And from there, they can find the numbers of everybody to reach out
see the
to, right?
pictures. And man, we thank everybody. We love everybody. Big, fat, short, and tall. VIP loves them all. I just made that up. I don't know, man.
I love it. I love it. It works.
I want to make a mention.
It.
We got to partner as big. We ain't gonna be here. There's
You're
no
right.
way
You're right.
in DC, people, if all my customers move out to Charles County, it's gonna take them 2 hours to get to the VIP. So we have to establish these businesses and partner together to help each other. We cannot survive by ourselves. And I want to encourage people every week to come to your podcast and learn something. That's how I stay afloat, because my research is current. What happened 3 years ago might not happen today. You have to reinvent yourself. You have to continue. You know, that's what I did. People knew me from getting music on the radio. God elevated me, and I'm able to book shows. I've done plays. I got all types of things. So you gotta, as a business person, you gotta change with the times. If you don't, you ain't gonna be here.
Well, I'm glad you were here with us today, and I want to thank you so much for being with us, and for being here, and for sharing the VIP room and your book and all that. We're going to, of course, continue. I like that partnership that you're stressing, and we're going to continue to do that. And I just want you to have a great holiday.
Okay,
make some money. Make some money.
I'd like to come back on here too when my book comes out, so we can all, including you, and do these things we trying to put together. It's gonna be big. I'm gonna bring everybody I can while I can, to try to use the national thing to blow this thing. All the artists, the businesses, everything. DC got number one. We the capital of the world. Let's be the capital of everything.
All right, I'm hyped. You did it. You did it. All right, bro.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. Yeah, hey, I see why people love him, and there's really great reasons. And he did the intro already for Raynette Sanders, who's coming with us now, who has her boutique right there, same block, 3rd and Rittenhouse. Is it 3rd? It's on the 3rd Street side, though, right?
Yes, between Rittenhouse and Sheridan.
Yeah, I'm a Coolidge. I'm a Coolidge coat, so I know where you are.
Oh yeah, yep. I can see Coolidge from my front door.
That's right. That's right. Raynette Sanders, thank you so very much for being with us today. Lovely lady boutique. You got some beautiful styles behind you. Tell us a little bit about you and about the boutique.
Nice to meet you, Denise, and thanks for having me.
Sure.
So we've been here on 3rd Street since 1994. My mother moved here from Bethesda. My parents started the business in 1988.
Wow.
So we're still hanging on and going strong. I'm trying to keep the legacy alive.
Wonderful. I know Bo's talked about it. I really am proud of these generational, entrepreneurs, those of us who kind of picked up the ball and are trying to continue it on. And I know it's not always easy, but, I'm looking at all the beautiful things behind you, and we like to shop. So that makes it a little easier. At least you're selling things that people want. It's harder to sell information, you know.
Yeah.
So tell us about the boutique. I mean, how did you get into? You talked about that, but how did you get into this? What made you feel as though this was your calling as well?
So I have a degree in business from Virginia State University, HBCUs.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I've always, yeah, and I've always loved the fashion industry. And so I worked with my mother when she was in Bethesda when I first got out of college. And at that time, it was a little too slow for me. So I had to go out here in the world and work for some other corporations, and which was a great learning experience.
Right.
And right. So I guess about 10 years ago, I was laid off from a job in Baltimore. And at that time, my mother was kind of slowing down. The shop was only open 3 days a week. And, and I've always worked with her on the weekends or doing fashion shows or helping out in that way. So I just, I was thinking it's the perfect time. If I want to keep this shop going, this was the perfect time to just jump in and do it. And I did, and it's great. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I had a tavern down in Adams Morgan for about 6 years. And so, this is just continuing my path. Again, like Bo said, the path that God has chosen for me. I've just been going with the flow, and it's been working out.
So what's the stamp that Raynette has put on to the boutique? I mean, what when you talk about fashions, how do you describe, your fashions, the inventory that you have? What do you see?
Yes. So we carry sophisticated women's clothing and accessories. Our target demographic are women, I guess 45 and up, or maybe 40 and up. Just we have professional clothing, things that are timeless. Not too trendy, but things that are very interesting. You're not going to see yourself all over DC in our clothing. You're not going to see us at the local malls, and that's what our customer base likes. We provide really engaged customer service. I do a lot of personal shopping. So, and I think we have a little bit of something for everyone, from casual to evening wear.
Well, I'm really glad that you came on because, I'm on the other side of town and not getting up to that part of town often. I really didn't know what was going on 3rd Street. I'm so glad to see a little Wall Street or a little Black Wall Street taking place up there. And so, so when it comes to like holiday fashions, if you were to tell folks, the holidays are coming, the parties coming, these are some things you need to consider as you're out finally having a good time with friends, family, all those special occasions. What do you have?
So I'm really into gold right now and incorporating gold with all different other metals as well. I just started carrying a designer called oh my gosh, this escaped me. Rebel Designs, and she is a Black designer out of Brooklyn, New York. She makes everything in Brooklyn. I'm wearing one of her pieces here.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's leather bands. They're not all like this, of course, but these are a couple of ones that I have left. So they're casual, but yet can be dressy. Here's another one. And she uses actual Swarovski crystals in here. So you can kind of dress them up or down. I guess I can show you a few pieces. Velvet is really hot right now. So
okay.
I'm wearing one of my green velvet suits right now. Nice little gold tops.
That's beautiful.
Of course, the sparks, bling bling are still
bling
always
bling. Yes.
Yes.
Is that a 2-piece that you just pulled out? Is it a top and a? Okay, and is the skirt? Oh, it's pants. Okay, gorgeous. Oh, nice.
Legs are back in this year. Actually, I guess any slim legs are still in too, but wide legs are really hot right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
What's
oh,
that? What? Oh, go ahead. Show
I
one,
just
one more thing. Hmm.
I also I always try again, like I said, try and find other minority businesses to support.
Right.
And we just partnered as Bo was saying, collaboration is very important. So I just collaborated with a company called Black Angel Antiques. So she does vintage bags.
Okay.
So,
Beautiful.
so coordinate them really well with some of my pieces. And she's also here in DC as well. So
Right. And as far as sizes, what do you know, I know
we
that.
carry
Go ahead. Tell me.
we carry sizes 4 through 24.
Wonderful. Okay.
So
And what are your
mm,
hours there?
Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 6.
Okay. And give us the address again, Raynette.
6213 3rd Street Northwest, Washington, D.C. Our zip is 20011 because there's also a 3rd Street downtown D.C. We're the one that's
Right.
uptown.
Right.
So,
Exactly. That goes all the way up. You know how our DC streets are. So yeah,
yes, we're
it's great.
there line. Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for so much for being with us and for sharing all of these beautiful items and for letting us know how you're keeping the legacy going.
Thank
We
you.
really hope that people will be out there shopping for the holidays, at least getting that one special piece, and to support
Yeah,
a black and woman owned business.
that's right. And if you come in and mention that you saw me on the Let's Talk show, you're going to receive 20% off of your
Does that
item.
include me?
Yes, of course. You're going to get
Okay,
the
all right.
extra special family deal. Also, I just decided to participate in the BZB at
Oh
the Shiloh
yes,
Church. So we'll
yes,
be there December 16th, I guess 2 Saturdays from now.
right.
So my customers, please come and see me there. And again, if you mention seeing me on the show, you will receive an extra discount while we're there participating in that.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. I thank you, thank you, thank you. Love to give our viewers something special. So one, they'll get something special anyway if they get it from you, but a little discount always goes a long way. So thank you so very much.
Absolutely. Please come see us.
We
And thanks for
will.
everybody's support. We really appreciate it. We could not have made it this far without all of our loyal customer base. Yeah, I need some new customers as well.
Okay. Well, we're gonna find some for you.
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Raynette. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great one. Boy, this time goes by so fast, and I wanted to get Sam on. I thought I was going to have like a long time with you, Sam, but you know how it goes with our other guests. So, and then I know you have to jump off in like a couple of minutes. So,
We got time as much as you need. I move some things around. So
okay, all right, cool. That's why I like being on the team with you because
yes,
you make stuff happen. So, Uh, wow. Everybody is blaming everything that's happening bad in DC on the crime. Everything. I mean, I don't care what the story is. Is it because of the crime in DC? They could be talking about California, but is it the crime in DC? But I mean, not to negate the fact that we do have a serious crime problem going on right now with the carjackings and gun violence and what have you. You've been following this, Sam. Let's, kind of tell us what, has happened this week and whether you even, and I don't mind your opinion on this, whether we're going to turn a curve or are we kind of stagnant?
great questions. So as far as this week, the DC Council Committee of the Judiciary and Public Safety, they hosted a hearing on the Addressing Crime Trends Amendment Act, also known as the Act Now Act. So provisions of that act address the wearing of masks in public. They address retail theft, and they also address loitering, among other issues. In addition to policing reforms that have been made that police officers feel have been too restrictive, and haven't allowed them to do their job. And to your point, Denise, about everybody blaming everything on crime, Mayor Bowser, as well as Deputy Mayor Lindsay Epia, as well as MPD Chief Smith, among others on the justice team in the mayor's office. They feel that the time is of the essence to get something passed like this. And, if you went to the hearing on Wednesday, you sort of saw a split in opinions among people. And what I would say is that even though that there was a split, there was some general consensus that the crime has to stop, and people are more open to rolling back some of the reforms. Even though that there were some concerns about Miranda rights and just people getting profiled, people are very tired of the loitering, the alleged drug activity that leads to violence, and they're also tired of what they perceive to be this pendulum swinging too far to the left as it relates to social justice. So what we saw on Wednesday was a lot of concern about, like I said, loitering, about robberies, about assaults of employees, about liquor stores getting robbed. The stories were just numerous. But at the same time, we saw people wanted to address the deeper issues. The Department of Youth and Rehabilitation Services being one, as well as truancy. Former council member William Lightfoot brought that up, and he actually suggested that there be a committee formed to address truancy. So a lot of moving pieces, but people are very tired. And even though we keep talking about the 90s and what happened, there is some likelihood that at some point the DC Council will be moving forward with this bill, either in its original form or with some provisions being changed. That's what we're looking at right now.
What was the tenor of the council? I mean, does it seem as though the council is united in this approach? And I'm curious about, the council members who always have sort of a fine line to walk in places like Ward 8 and Ward 7. There's always this thing, like if it's crime in DC and then it becomes it's the criminals in Ward 8, and we know that all the criminals are not in Ward 8. But I mean, is there anything that they said that stood out with regards to this bill? Council member White or Council member from Ward 7, Vince Gray?
No doubt. What I'll say is that in terms of Councilmember White, more of the attention in recent weeks has been on DYRS and making sure that the conditions at the Youth Services Center is up to par as it relates to the young people. And the council member has always been focused on recreation. Now, as far as how to address crime, if you speak to activists, they would argue that both him and the Ward 7 council member are a bit right of the center. So, they do believe in balance, but given how significantly more the crime has been concentrated in Ward 7 and Ward 8, you do see ruminations out of their office about things like keeping school resource officers in the schools and even just addressing crimes. Even if I'm going back to a couple weeks ago at a rocket ship park, at a rocket ship public charter school, where Councilmember White was during a walk. That was the same charter school where bullets went through the school windows over a period of 2 or 3 months. And Councilmember White, he said that, we do need wraparound services, but some people do need to be put down for a while. Put down for a while, meaning they need to be held accountable for their actions. So you do see that tenor on the council, and you do see other council members who in recent weeks, even though they've been to the left, they do understand that we do need a balance of measures. One more point I want to bring up is that, there are questions about whether if we keep throwing bills at the wall, hoping that one will stick, if it's really going to be effective. That's been the big question, from Councilmember Nadeau and from Councilmember Allen, who at one point in time ran the Public Safety Committee. So to that point, we have different bills. This is not the only bill that's out. We got bills from Nadeau that are addressing the 911 situation where people's calls aren't getting through for 20 minutes at a time. We got another bill coming out from Councilmember White that's touting a whole of government approach, from violence interruption to victim services, all the way to the Attorney General's office.
Is
We
that
got,
Robert or Trayon? Which one? Robert
forgive
White?
me, Robert White, at-large council member Robert White's bill.
Mm-hmm.
And we also got other bills, as far as looking into other segments of government. And one more important issue, I think two more, as a matter of fact. Forensic sciences, they are de-accredited. So, there's a difference between arrest and prosecution. If the forensics office is not up to par, then the arrest will not turn into prosecutions. And another point that people bring up is that if the arrests are not up to par, if people's Fourth Amendment rights are getting violated, then it's less likely that the prosecutor will take on the case. So people get note papered, which goes to the trend of the 2 out of 3 arrests leading to no convictions. And that's part of the reason why Chief Smith wants this law passed so badly, because as she said on Tuesday night before Ward 1 residents, oftentimes as a police officer, probable cause is narrowed because of the restrictions put on police officers. If you see 4 people riding around in the daytime in the middle of the summertime with masks on, you really can't stop them because of the lack of an anti-masking law. So there are different not scenarios, but different factors in play. But if you look at it, expand it a bit more, you got 911 services being subpar, you got forensic sciences services being subpar, and you also have the federal prosecutors being very touchy about prosecuting certain cases because what happened on the ground is not up to par.
So one of the questions I have, going back to the loitering part of the legislation, did anybody talk about what that looks like? I mean, the district already has a law that prevents people from, blocking you on the sidewalk. I mean, not that if you're up against a lot of, I've seen, you've seen it, guys and women that will bring their picnic chairs and line up against a business and hang out there. But that way, they're not really blocking the sidewalk. But if you block the sidewalk, just hanging, there's a law that the district, I know this because I was once upon a time almost arrested for standing in the middle of the sidewalk. So how would the loitering law work?
No doubt.
Did
So
they
the
talk
loitering
about that
law,
at all? Mm-hmm.
they did. Yeah, they did. The loitering law, which was struck down in 2014, not long before the transition of our mayor for life. This was actually during the time when Bowser was our Ward 4 council member. So the law that they want to bring back into place, it would give the police chief discretion to designate certain areas as drug-free zones. So the chief would, have to study trends, in terms of, violent crime, arrests, certain activity, and then the chief can designate areas for up to 5 days, 120 hours, as drug-free zones. And then once that area is declared as a drug-free zone, that allows MPD to go in and break up loitering. Now, the questions that people had was, all right, to what degree is that going to work? Once people are broken up, are they just going to move around the corner or to another block to loiter again? And there are also questions about situations. One, for example, that ANC Commissioner Ashley Ruff talked about out of Ward 7. If you're an officer who has no rapport with the community, who are you to go in without any rapport or any intelligence about what's going on to just single people out? This is the thing about laws. What's written in stone versus the execution of the law on the ground. So once a place is declared as a drug-free zone, by all means, police officers to some extent have all reign to just go in and press anybody out. This is a concern that some people brought up, along with what does that look like in terms of people getting moved around. Now, Councilmember Pinto, she was on record saying to me a couple weeks ago, as a matter of fact, during the public safety walk down Anacostia, she mentioned that this law, once again, would not be alone. She mentioned that we need to be working with rec centers and other after-school vicinities to give young people alternatives and try to figure out why are people loitering. But to answer your question, that's exactly how the law is going to work. So we're looking at drug-free zones and people getting broken up Also, in addition to that, giving officers the opportunity to arrest people for drug activity, possession of drugs, anything dealing with illegal substances.
Now, would folks still get arrested for possession of marijuana?
That's a great question. So right now, my understanding is that on the books, there's a certain threshold for arrests. And I really cannot answer that question, to be honest with you. That was something that somebody brought that question to Bowser when she announced the bill. And it's very touchy, you know.
I heard her say in certain places it's either the law, or it was a very short answer, but it was very pointed. It's illegal or whatever. But the other thing too, because when we talk about crime, of course, there's a real concern about juveniles. And I mean, not all juveniles, all the crimes are not being committed by juveniles, but an inordinate number are being committed by juveniles. What was that conversation like? And were there school officials involved in any of these hearings? I know it had to be a broad range of people, but I'm just trying to figure out, what the makeup was of some of those that testified, and how, juveniles were brought into this conversation.
Well, Chief Smith touched on her strategy, part of which is prevention. And, part of that for her, she is really a big proponent of the pilot curfew program. She said that program itself really alerted her to the severity of some people's home situation.
Is that still, is the curfew still in effect?
Definitely. It's still in effect. It's still in effect. I can't tell you off top how many young people get rounded up every week, but some weeks it's none. Of the weeks you got about 2 or 3. Oftentimes they are reunited with their parents, or they get connected to services through Child and Family Services Administration, or agency rather. So, in terms of your question, a lot of the public safety community touched on what they're doing in terms of collaborating with outside agencies to provide wraparound services. And they talked about the breakdown in the family. And once again, truancy was a big issue. As far as I can tell, and as I have been told, DCPS has been mum about what they're doing in terms of addressing that. And previous stories that I've written, there's been a lapse in communication. Now, this is what teachers are telling me on background, because once again, there's a threshold. Once you miss a certain amount of days as a student, you get referred to CFSA. And then from that point, even before then, parents get called. But there's always a question of, okay, whether the reports are being made and if CFSA is following through on that. So once again, the question is, where's the breakdown in the chain of command? And DCPS hasn't been quite transparent about that, which is why they'll most likely be brought to the table come December 12th when the committee of the whole talks about truancy. But for the most part, when it came to juvenile crime and the causes of it, that was dialogue pretty much relegated to the chief.
The other thing, before we close up, Sam, is because these are the things that go through my mind. I mean, we wake up in the morning or go to bed. Before we go to bed at night, we hear reports, of shootings and killings. And now we're seeing more young people that are not only perpetrators, but also victims of violence. Did anyone from the health community participate? I mean, I can only imagine where, once upon a time, I think before, we used to hear about the rush of bodies being taken to places like DC General, Howard University Hospital, which were the Trauma 1 hospitals in the city. We know that these individuals are being taken somewhere, some even out to Prince George's County or Virginia. But do you know if there was anyone from the health or mental health community engaged in these hearings this week?
Not to my knowledge. What I will say, however, is that Councilmember Henderson, she was on the dais yesterday, and she spoke about behavioral health issues as it relates to why young people are committing crime. And in recent weeks and months, she has touted not only legislation, but just resources that have been put in place to help people with substance abuse. So, in all, we do see some efforts among council members to not stay so to not pinpoint any particular crime issue, but to look at it as a web of a greater problem affecting DC residents. And the substance use issue is definitely a big part of that. Part of the reason why they not only want to break up these drug-free zones that they're going to designate if the law passes, but they also want to bring in resources to the community. And speaking of which, we are looking at, in the next couple of weeks or so, based on my calculations, the deputy mayor for Justice's office hopefully bringing a plan to the Anacostia community about how they hope to tackle the substance use issue, because Marionberry Avenue, or a portion of it rather, has been a sight for sore eyes, unfortunately, over recent years, and there have been demands for plans. But to your question, the behavioral health aspect, that's where that comes in, and they're looking to solve that issue there, as well as on Minnesota Avenue. I know portions of 14th Street, of course, as well as Union Station.
So as we bring this to a close, and I'm glad you talked about what's going to be coming up, if you could tell people who are watching what they really need to be paying attention to, because the public hearing had close to 80 some participants from across the board, but it's not the only opportunity, I guess, that residents can weigh in on these bills. Is there anything you would advise DC residents to really pay attention to going forward, and why they need to weigh in?
Definitely, as far as weighing in, they're more than welcome to write testimony. They're more than welcome to reach out to their council members. So, every DC resident has, they have their council member and they have their at-large council members, as well as the chairperson. So we're talking about, I don't want to miscount now. Hold on now.
8
their council member.
Four at large.
4 at large. Yeah, so like 6. There you go. At least 6 who they can reach out to about this issue. When in terms of organizing, that's always the best way to go about it. And they can also talk to their council members about, hosting public safety walks, hosting dialogues. I know Councilmember Robert White was out and about on Tuesday, as well as Councilmember Nadeau. She hosted, like I said, Chief Smith over at the DC Health Finance Agency on Florida Avenue. So, and in addition to things to look out for, like I said, the truancy hearing that's coming up on December 12th. And another thing, if we're talking about being holistic, the DC Tax Commission is coming out with recommendations December 7th and later on at the beginning of the year. So, I know people are very adamant about addressing crime, but if we're talking about at the root, we got to talk about where the money is coming from to address these issues. And right now we're looking at, revenue staying pretty stagnant, even with the whole metro situation happening, and that whole budget gap. So if you want to address the issue, you can look at, what's happening fiscally, as well as it relates to public safety. But I'll stop there. I can go on and on, as you know. But,
I know, and I could go on and on as with you, asking questions. But I think the most important thing I want people to know is that you are on this. And if they are wanting to keep up with the topic in any way, that they need to read the Washington Informer. Check out Sam P.K. Collins on Twitter, or X. I'm sorry, X. And where else are you, Sam?
Great question. Instagram, Facebook, and I'm out and about at the Wilson Building, at your local hearing. You see me any and everywhere.
So reach out to him if you have any specific questions, something you want him to follow up on. He doesn't have enough to do, so contact him, and because we want to keep you informed, we want to keep our residents informed, because these bills are going to become laws, and these laws are going to impact every single Washingtonian, no matter how you're involved in any of this or not at all. It's still going to have an impact. So, we're going to stay on top of it. I thank you, Sam, for staying on top of it. And hey, get some rest.
Oh yeah, that's the goal. Appreciate you. Much
All
love.
righty. Thanks much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of Let's Talk here on WIN TV. I hope that you enjoyed the show. I want to thank all of the folks who kind of watched today. I saw some new faces. Thanks for giving us comments, especially our regulars, Michael Von Lassiter, as well as my dear mom, Vera Abbott. I'm so glad that you all watched. And it was great to see Stacey Palmer and so many others out there. So keep watching WIN TV. We're usually from 12 to 1, but you see, sometimes we just got good stuff and we just go over. But we can do that. So again, check us out every Friday from noon to 1. Pick up a copy of the Washington Informer on your newsstands today. And inside, read The Bridge and follow us on all of the social channels. We look forward to talking to you again this time next week. Have a safe and wonderful weekend. So long.
Where did you come to get